Have you ever heard of an ancient text that claims there's a super science to chanting? It's this wild idea that certain sounds aren't just for, spiritual practice, but are actually a kind of formula that can physically change the world around you. So let's dive in and see how this ancient science is supposed to work.
Which, of course, leads to the big question. Can the sound of your voice, just a vibration, actually change physical reality? It's a massive claim for sure, but according to the text we're digging into today, the answer is a hard yes. So our mission here is to unpack the logic behind that yes.
All right, so to really get our heads around this science of sound, we've got to go way back, like all the way back to the very beginning, because this whole system is framed within the story of creation itself.
So the story goes, the universe didn't kick off with some massive explosion. Nope, it started with a thought, a single desire from the creator, Brahma, which set off this cosmic vibration. This primal energy is called Shakti, and it's basically the raw material from which all of reality is woven.
And this initial hum, this vibration, it was so powerful that it immediately split the entire cosmos right down the middle into two fundamental, but totally connected, halves. You can kind of think of it like the universe taking its very first breath.
So what you get are these two totally different realities. On one side, we have Chaitanya, that's the world of consciousness, of life force, what's often called prana. And on the other side, you've got Jud, the inanimate, material world. Atoms, the 5 elements, all the physical stuff. Okay, so that's the big picture, the cosmic blueprint. But you're probably wondering, what does any of this have to do with us, right? With our everyday lives? Well, the text argues that a specific divine power, born from this creation, holds the key to solving human suffering.
You see, the ancient thinkers behind this, they weren't just staring up at the stars. They were trying to solve real human problems. And they basically boiled down all of human suffering into 3 root causes: ignorance, a lack of wisdom; lack, or not having enough of what you need; and infirmity, which is just physical weakness or sickness. And to tackle these core problems, they pointed to a single, direct solution. They gave a name to that conscious, creative energy of the universe, that Chaitanya we talked about. They called it Adi Shakti Gayatri. The whole belief is that if you can tap into this source, you can fight back against those 3 big forms of suffering.
So how does it actually work? Well, the idea is that this Gayatri energy flows in 3 specific currents, and each one has a job. The Hrim current is tied to the power of Saraswati, and it's meant to tackle ignorance. The Shrim current, connected to Lakshmi, goes after lack and scarcity. And finally, the Klim current from Kali is there to fight off weakness and infirmity. It's like a precise map, matching the solution to the problem.
Now this all sounds super cosmic and out there, right? But this is where the science gets really personal. It's all about how your own body becomes the instrument to channel these huge, universal energies.
And the key to this whole internal engine, according to the text, it all comes down to one little number: 24. This number is like the sacred blueprint for how the mantra actually connects with your body.
And here it is. This is the absolute heart of this super science. The Gayatri mantra itself, it's made of 24 distinct syllables. And the claim is that each one of those syllables connects directly to one of 24 specific points in your body. They're called glands, or you could think of them as energy centers, a perfect one-to-one link.
So check this out. Here's how it's supposed to work. First, you say the mantra. Those sounds, they actually stimulate nerve fibers in your mouth and throat. Those nerves then turn on or activate those 24 corresponding glands, and that activation creates what the text calls a Vedic symphony, a wave of energy that shoots out into the universe, gathers up similar energy, and brings it all back to you, but way stronger.
Okay, I get it. The idea that just sound can have real physical power, it can sound a little out there. But the text argues that we actually see proof of this principle all around us if we just know what to look for.
So here's the core idea. Sound isn't just a passive wave floating in the air. It's an active, creative force. The thinking is that a specific sound vibration goes out and it literally attracts atoms of a similar vibe, pulling matter and energy right back to where it started.
And to back this up, the text throws out some really fascinating examples. Like, you know how soldiers are told not to march in step across bridges? It's because those rhythmic vibrations could literally bring the whole thing down. It talks about certain melodies that could light lamps, or how a flute can mesmerize a snake. It even points to a modern doctor, Dr. Hutchinson, who supposedly used music to cure diseases.
All right,
So we've got the huge cosmic theory, and we've got the nitty-gritty physical mechanics. But the text is super clear that there's one last absolutely crucial piece of the puzzle. And this part, it comes from you.
Think about it. You could have the most amazing machine ever built, but without a power source, it's just a chunk of metal. It's the same thing here. All of this complex science, according to the text, it just sits there, dormant, until it's switched on by one very human thing.
There's this amazing line from the poet Tulsidas that just nails this idea. He compared this inner state you need to two powerful deities, basically saying that your faith and your confidence, they're the gods that make the whole system fire up.
And this is so important to get. In this system, Shraddha, faith, and Vishwas, confidence, they aren't just fuzzy feelings. No, they are described as active forces. They are literally the on switch that takes the mantra from just potential to actual, tangible reality.
And the text gives us this incredible analogy to really hammer this point home. Think about it. It's your own belief that can make you see a terrifying snake in a dark room when all that's there is a coiled-up rope. Your conviction literally created your reality in that moment. The power wasn't in the rope, it was in you.
And that's really what it all boils down to. The super science of Gayatri, in the end, seems to be a science of belief. It suggests that the vibrations we're constantly sending out, with our voices, sure, but also with our core beliefs, are literally building the world we see around us. Which leaves us with a pretty powerful question to think about. If your faith can turn a rope into a snake, what reality is your belief creating right now?